All right, so with UFC 249 in the books, I wanted to spend some time on this week's show recapping the craziness of the UFC's return to action. So I figured let's bring on one of the most knowledgeable members of the roster, a top 10 fighter in one of the most fascinating divisions in the UFC. Let us welcome Shane Burgos to the show for the first time. Shane, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for the compliment, by the way. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That quarantine hair and the beard, that is something else, man. I'm envious of it if we're being honest, but how long is the hair taken to flow the way that it's flowing right now?
My hair grows super slow. I shaved my head after my first MSG fight, so I mean, it's been like a year and a half, and this is the longest I got it.
With Ricky Simone cutting his, this might be the best sort of mullet in the UFC right now. There is no close second.
It's not a mullet technically because the top is still long. I just had the whole thing growing. Just only thing I do is cut sides.
Mullet-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we get into Saturday and all the chaos, how has quarantine life been treating you, especially being in one of the hot spots for COVID in the country?
It's been treating me pretty good, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I've been training. I've been doing a lot of training. This is probably the best shape I've ever been in without having a fight booked. So I'd say it's been treating me pretty good. For other people, a little bit differently around the area, but for me personally, it's been good. I have my strength and conditioning gym is literally like not even a quarter mile down the road from my house. Like I literally just walked back from the gym to come back and do this interview.
You look pretty swole right now, man. You getting those weights in?
Yeah, man. Yeah, my weight's actually going down too, so I'm ready to go. Yep.
Even better. Well, we got a nice distraction from everything on Saturday night with UFC 249 main event. Justin Gaethje becomes the UFC interim lightweight champion with the 5th round TKO win over Tony Ferguson. What a performance from Justin Gaethje. What stuck out to you the most in those 24 minutes or so of action?
Flawless performance, basically. What stuck out to me was one, his cardio was impeccable. He looked like he was in phenomenal shape. Wasn't really breathing heavy in the stool. No, and the second thing, his condition, not his condition, his patience. His patience was on point, man. He usually goes out there like a berserker. He's been fighting a lot more patiently lately, but that one was even like, he was very methodical, and I could really appreciate that.
Hindsight is a big word that's used in the sport. And one thing that's been questioned quite a bit, even heading into that fight, was should Tony Ferguson have taken it when the Khabib fight was potentially waiting for him later on the year. And Ferguson took the fight. Doesn't really surprise anybody. He obviously had his moments, even dropped Gaethje with the beautiful uppercut in the second round. But for the most part, that fight was all Gaethje. But when you found out that Ferguson was going to take this fight with all the April 18th craziness going on, did you have that same question?
I 100% knew he was going to take it. Like, he's Tony Ferguson. That's a Tony Ferguson move. Like, the dude made weight 3 weeks ago too. So after that, I was like, that. It's completely him to take the fight, and I respect it.
What did you think of him making the weight and then having to cut it again 3 weeks later? Did you think that was a mistake at the end of the day?
Well, no, I don't. I think 3 weeks was long enough to not really affect him, but it was nonsensical. I wouldn't have done it personally. Like, if you give me an extra 3 weeks, tell me the fight's canceled, I'm like, all right, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm gonna eat a little bit more, get my weight back up. But yeah, I think that's another Tony move, though. I'm not even surprised that he did it.
But now it seems like Justin Gaethje has a date with Khabib Nurmagomedov to unify the titles. Dana White coming out earlier and saying they're shooting for Fight Island this summer, but Conor McGregor went on a Twitter tirade earlier this week trying to insert himself into the conversation. But Khabib versus Gaethje is a crazy fight on paper right now. How do you think he matches up with Khabib after that fight on Saturday?
Oh, man, I really, like, if you look at, what does he have, 7 fights in the UFC, right? Gaethje, that was his 7th fight. Not one person has really tried to wrestle him. So based off of that fight, I really can't say how the Khabib fight's going to go, because we know what Khabib's going to do. We know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to try to take Justin down, and he's going to take him down. And I'm not saying that as a knock on Justin's wrestling. He's a phenomenal wrestler, but Khabib is taking everyone down. Like, whether you're a phenomenal wrestler or not, like, his MMA wrestling is probably the best in the world, period. So I wish that Tony would have shot a little bit more so we could see that takedown defense, because we haven't really seen anyone try to take Justin down, especially in the UFC.
We did a matchmaker piece on the site, and for Tony Ferguson, I said, I don't even want to think about what's next for him right now after that fight. Like, 24 minutes of him taking the punishment that he took, taking all those huge shots, and only stopping because his body just wouldn't let him continue. Like, let's let him heal up before talking about his next fight. But do you agree with that, or do you think there should be something sort of people can eyeball for El Kakui?
No, 1,000,000%. He needs a break. I saw Aaron Bronstetter. He had a good point. He said he tweeted, make Tony versus Conor. If Tony wins, you do Khabib versus Tony, and if he beats Justin, and if Tony loses, then you do Conor versus the winner of that fight, which I was like, all right, that does make kind of sense, but that means Conor's got to be out for a while. Like, Tony should not be fighting for the next, I'd say he should give his body at least 6 months just to really recover. I don't think he will, but I think he should.
Yeah, I think one of the things I mentioned in that post was I think Tony Ferguson's biggest challenge is going to be Tony Ferguson himself. You know, people are going to be telling him to hang out, but he is who he is. He's a wild man.
And man, his legs are going to be hurting from that. His head's got to be hurting. He's got a broken orbital. He should really take it easy, but I don't know if he will necessarily. So,
co-main event: Henry Cejudo goes out and defeats Dominic Cruz via TKO in the second round. It was a fantastic performance from Cejudo. Cruz looked pretty good too, considering the long layoff. But before we get into the bigger story from this fight, thoughts on the stoppage from referee Keith Peterson, and then the subsequent comments afterwards from Dominic Cruz.
It wasn't my favorite stoppage. Watching it, it wasn't the worst stoppage I've ever seen. Personally, if I'm the ref, I've never ref the fight before. I don't want to step on anyone's toes or anything. I've never ref the fight, obviously. But personally, I think if I was in his shoes, I would have let it go on a little bit quicker. And how much time was left on the clock before the bell rang?
It was less than 10 seconds. It was probably like 3 or 4 seconds after it was done.
Seconds. So I'm like, come on, man. Kind of like, whether it was a title fight or not, like there's 3 seconds left, and he was starting to get up. Like just let it play out. Especially like maybe that's the fighter in me talking, because I know I want to go out on my shield, especially when there's 3 seconds left and I'm going to get a nice long minute break. Like I feel like he would have survived that 3 seconds.
We've seen fighters, you know, kind of talk about the referees and about stoppages. I mean, there's only one Robbie Lawler. Like that Robbie Lawler Herb Dean thing was legendary after the Ben Askren fight. But for the most part, if a fighter feels a fight was stopped too early, they'll have some things to say about the ref. But Dominic Cruz has made some heavy accusations here, saying that Keith Peterson smelled like cigarettes and booze. Like, what did you make of those comments?
I don't think Dominic Cruz is a sore loser. I don't think he would have said those things just to say them. So I think he really does feel that way. And he's a reputable guy. Like you got to Cruz, like he's got a clean reputation. I don't think anyone can knock that. I think everyone can agree with that. So I think he really felt that way.
We got a visitor.
You made a mess on the couch? Yeah. All right, I'll clean it when I'm done. Right?
Just so you want to hear as a dad.
Yeah.
So Cejudo finishes Cruz, and this guy is just rolling right now. He's, you know, the cringiness aside, the man is becoming a draw in the UFC. Yeah. And then he retires. Like, I did not see that one coming. I don't know how well you know Henry Cejudo, but do you believe him when he says he's done?
I did a follow-up show with Danny Skura, and we were talking about this too. And he said I didn't watch the post-fight press conference, but he was telling me about it and saying that Cejudo was starting to tear up. His coaches were tearing up talking about it. So I mean, that right there that made it more believable hearing him talk about that. But at first, I was like, oh no, this is definitely a negotiation ploy. He's going to try to use this to get more money.
We've seen him sort of like do this before. Like Daniel Cormier was talking with Ariel yesterday as we record, and he was saying that Henry Cejudo walked away from wrestling at 21 years of age when he was like the best wrestler in the country. So this isn't new for Henry Cejudo to walk out on top.
On his own terms too, and that's how every single one of us wants to go out. But he's a competitor. He's been competing since before he was probably 10, right? I'm assuming. So I feel like he's definitely going to get that itch, and he's going to want to come back and compete soon.
Yeah, he said Dana White knows the number. If he hits it, he'll be back. But if he is in fact done, we're going to have a vacant title in one of the deepest divisions in the UFC at 135. And Dana White said it's going to be Petr Yan versus somebody. And Yan's scheduled to face Marlon Moraes on June 13th. It's not happening in Kazakhstan. We don't know what the hell's happening with that. But is that the fight to make for the title? Plus, it looks like Aljamain Sterling and Corey Sandhagen's being discussed for June 6th. Maybe that gets pushed to the same card or something. Like, how would you play it all out if you had the matchmaking pencil? I
mean, I think saying Yan is the automatic guy to get the shot. I think it's a little bit of a knock on Sterling. Because I think Sterling's been on the hottest streak. I would say, like if you look at the names he's beaten, I think Sterling should be the lock. I think it should be Sterling versus Yan. That makes the most sense in my opinion.
Yeah, and then Sandhagen versus Moraes.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Do a 4-man tournament like that. I think Cejudo called for that too.
Yeah, that's.
And then you have Aldo and Cruz. That would be an awesome fight.
Also, get Frankie Edgar in the mix too.
Yeah.
35 is just crazy right now. And then you got, before all that happened, Francis Ngannou goes out and knocks out Jairzinho Rozenstruik in 20 seconds, and that man is a man possessed right now. He's also in a really tough spot right now because Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier, they're trying to line up their trilogy fight. So after that win, will Francis Ngannou Do you think he's going to have to take another fight before getting a title shot? Or does he just wait it out? Because he's a very active guy, and it could be, end of the year at the earliest he'd get a fight like that, but likely not till 2021.
Yeah, I don't think he has to do anything. I think he can just sit back and definitely relax. And if I'm his management and his coaches, I would advise that, because the dude's heavyweight. He makes heavyweight money. Everyone knows his name. Everyone knows that he's the next guy in line, like fan-wise, I'm saying. So, I mean, if I'm him and if I'm his management and coaches, I'm telling him, good job. I got to talk. Okay. I'm telling him, just sit back and relax, man. Kick back, let the fights play out. Go out there and fight for your title, because you're fighting a heavyweight, man. He goes up there, and who's he going to fight next? I'm sure he's going to fight. If it wasn't for the title, he's going to fight a killer, and he's going to roll the dice in that one. It's like, why?
Yeah, I agree. Your former opponent, Calvin Kattar, picked up a nice win over Jeremy Stevens. Just a filthy knockout. He's going to join us later on in the show, but that was a nasty finish. What did you think of that big win and his probable ascent into a top 5 matchup?
Oh, the fight was awesome, honestly. And I had Stevens edging that first round out. The first round was really close. I had Stevens winning. Then the second round, it completely flipped. I had Kattar picking it up. As a fan, it was just an awesome fight. And I mean, he has a win over me, so I'm definitely always rooting for him too. So I'm happy to see him get that win.
Greg Hardy gets a win. Pettis got a win. Luque and Price was wild, but another featherweight made some noise on Saturday. Bryce Mitchell defeating another former opponent of yours in Charles Rosa. And Bryce is not someone that you probably particularly have your eye on for the immediate future right this second, but I know you guys share the same management team and everything, but that was an impressive win for Thug Nasty on Saturday, was it not?
Oh, and yeah, it was. I think there was only, I think Bryce landed 40 strikes in that fight, and Rosa landed only 5. But that was probably the most exciting grappling, like zero, almost not, like striking wasn't even a thing. Ground and pound wasn't even a thing. But that fight was exciting, like just with the grappling alone.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was an absolutely crazy fight. A lot of people are throwing out like they want to see him with Ryan Hall next. And, I'd love to see it. I think that's a future fight that everyone's going to want to see. My choice, Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Fili. I think that's an appropriate step up.
That's funny. I saw you post that, and I was talking to my brother, and they were like, "Who's next?" Me and my brother were talking. I was like, "Him and Fili would actually be a really good fight." And then you posted that right after. And I showed my brother. I was like, "Didn't I just say this?" Thinking the same exact thing.
So let's. That was a hell of an event. Obviously, there's 2 more coming up this week, but let's talk about what's going on with you. A lot has changed since we last spoke. New management. You and Lyman Good are both with first round management, and I know speaking with Lyman a little while ago, he said you guys were very happy with that decision. And I know it's tough to gauge right now, but when would you like to get back in there in a perfect world and build on this top 10 ranking of yours?
Next month, man. I'm trying to lock something down for next month.
Next month? Anything come your way yet, or?
No, nothing official, but some stuff is in the works. Can't say anything yet, but some stuff is in the works. So hopefully it goes through. Hopefully I have a fight announcement in the next week or 2.
In the States, or are we going to Fight Island, Shane? What's happening?
I literally don't even have a clue about. I don't even give a fuck. I just need to play at this point. I don't care where it's at.
Sort of, I mean, I know you have some stuff in the works, but sort of looking at the rankings right now, I think Josh Emmett would make some sense. And I know he's looking for a higher ranked guy, and you usually don't care who you fight anyways. But now that you have that number 10 next to your name, do you feel like you're in an interesting spot trying to get up those rankings? Because, now getting a guy ranked ahead of you, like an Emmett, he's probably going to want somebody higher ranked than you or ahead of him.
Yeah, we all do at this point. And it's like my last fight, I just earned my ranking. Then I fought Habib Cub, and then I fought Macon, who wasn't ranked. And I was like, you know what? I just got my ranking. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I want to fight him. That's the guy I got. Fine, I'll defend my rank. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, let me fight somebody ahead of me now. Give me an opportunity to fight somebody ahead. I'm number 10. I want to fight one of these top 10 guys.
Do you feel like you're going to have some difficulty getting those types of fights unless, maybe run off another win or 2?
I maybe, but I don't know exactly how to say, just because this whole COVID shit going on. I don't know who's really exactly available to fight. Like if you look at the top 10, like you got Stevens and Kattar just fought, and then the rest of the guys, none of them are booked. They're all in the works, but nobody is booked. So I don't know if they can fight. I don't know if they want to fight. I don't know.
From a competitive standpoint, you have to be excited being in this division right now, because it's as interesting as it's ever been. So much talent from 1 to 15 and beyond. There's a lot of really good fights in your future, right?
100%. I'm biased aside. Like if you look at 1 to 15, this is really, I think, the most stacked division. Like every single fighter in the top 15 is exciting.
Who do you think wins that rematch between Volkanovski and Holloway? Do you think things go any differently there?
I think Max is really, really good at making adjustments. He didn't do it in the first fight, but man, it's hard to say. I I think he'll be able to make the adjustments and switch some things up and go in the rematch, but I don't know if it'll be enough to get the win. It's a close fight. It's a close fight.
How is Lyman doing right now? Like, he was the first UFC fighter to come out and share that he had COVID and, you know, kind of laying my cards on the table. I had heard that was the case, and I had reached out to him prior, and he said he was just injured and that's why he wasn't fighting. Turns out that, you know, the rumors are true, but, you know, it seems like he's on the other side of it right now. But what was that time like for him, for you and your whole team?
I mean, for me, I was like, I found out he had it and I was like, oh, damn. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I've been training with him so much. Like, I was grappling with him, sparring with him, pads with him, strength conditioning with him. I was like, we just got back from Vegas. I was like, fuck. I was like, if he has it, I was like, I definitely have it. Never had any symptoms. Another one of my teammates, he didn't have any symptoms either, but there's 3 of us training. So he went and got tested for the antibodies and he didn't have it. So it was like, oh shit, we completely dodged the bullet there. We didn't get it at all. So we luckily have been fine. But he said it was bad 2 weeks that were really bad. And then after that, he's back to normal. I was training with him yesterday.
Wow. So did you end up getting tested?
I didn't get tested because I haven't felt any symptoms whatsoever. I felt fine this entire time. But like I said, my other teammate, who's the third one of us, went and got tested for the antibodies because he had a doctor that was willing to do it real quick. So it's like, all right, cool. So because if he had it, then I definitely had to have had it, but we didn't.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if I had it or not, but I never really get sick. But in February, I got so sick for like a week. And this is before it really started to hit in the US. And my kid got sick too. He never really gets sick. So we're kind of wondering if we ended up getting it or not. But Shane, I know you got your hands full right now. I appreciate the time for coming on and breaking down UFC 249. Hopefully we can get you back in there sooner rather than later. Anything else you want to get off your chest for the folks before we let you go?
Oh man, I'm excited to be back though, man. I can't wait. Hopefully in the week or two I'll have something to announce for all you guys. But I appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks, dude.